If you love the 4-4-1-1, but you want a balanced 4-4-2 tactic to start the game with and to play the game with, I'm going to show you a system for the 4-4-2 to use where you can literally start the game with without being too defensive, but being, I would say, in a neutral state, being balanced where, let's say you're losing the game 1-0, or maybe you want to try to get back into the game, or maybe you need two strikers. Then this is the formation for you. A 4-4-2 that you see a lot of the top tier players playing is a balanced 4-4-2. If you like to play the 4-4-1-1, but you don't want to go as aggressive as a 4-4-2 wide, you could use something like this. And as I always say, just one of your strikers on poacher, one more advanced forward. You can put them both in advanced forward, but personally, me, I just like a bit of two different types. Because if I got one player running behind, I don't want this player to be doing the exact same thing. That's why I have two different roles. So they're both attacking, and arguably the two best attacking roles for strikers. That way they do two different things. So the way we look at this formation is it's one to press the ball, but to play the ball. So what I mean by this is like you're using it for the entire game. This is not like an ultra pressing tactic where we're delving into aggressive. This is more of, like let's say you're losing 1-0, or maybe the game is not going in your favor, or maybe you're playing a 4-4-1-1, but you've realized you need two strikers. Let's say your opponent's got two CDMs playing a 4-2-1-3. Think about it. How many times have you gone into a game where your singular strike has been isolated and you've got no one to support that player? So that's the whole idea behind the 4-4-2. You're still being a bit higher up the pitch, being aggressive, but not being too committing. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that. For both the left mid, right mid, we all know inside forward is the best. Now, the benefit of left mids and right mids is something that's really important. The benefit of left mids and right mids compared to wingers is that wingers, okay, the downside is you don't have the inside forward roaming option. Inside forward attack, think of it like they stay forward. With balance, they can help you come back defensively. In fact, unlike the 4-2-1-3, or the 4-2-3-1. Do you want to increase your win rate just before team of season? We got the Division 10 to Elite Division series. All the videos are finally uploaded. We show you how to get from Division 10 to the Elite Division basic gameplay. No speed boosting, no mechanic abusing, no Trivella at all, because we want you to get there just with basic gameplay to show you don't need to mechanic abuse. If you want to mechanic abuse, that's fine. We want to show you how to play properly first and then show you what the pros do. What pros do is they used basic gameplay and then they mechanic abuse to get the top 10%. Not the other way around. They don't mechanic abuse first and then learn the basics. We go over complete in-depth tutorials. And don't forget, with my entire series, if you join now during team of the season, remember, if you don't get better after 1 month, we will refund your money. That is the nil guys guarantee. That is how sure we are. We've been running this for 4 or 5 years. We go over in-depth tutorials. We also go over pro gameplay analysis where we analyze the full professional player's game. We've got tutorials for everything, undefendable through balls, player locks, precision passing, precision shooting, everything that you could think of that goes beyond my YouTube channel. We've got the full defensive series, which defending series alone, just by watching that, I can guarantee you'll improve. Patreon.com/NilGuys, links down below in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, just send a message on Discord or send a message through Patreon and I'll refund your money. That's the Nil Guys guarantee. Don't believe me? Try it out. What have we got to lose? Less than the price for a KFC meal nowadays. When those players, especially in a 4-2-1-3, the left wing and the right wing specifically, they stay high up the pitch. So although you lose that counter-attack threat, the key thing is when you lose the ball, these players are going to come back and defend in that 4-4-2 so you don't get doubled up down the wing. So unlike the 4-2-1-3 where you can argue your wingers are high up the pitch, they don't really come back as much. Left mid and right mids come back as much, but they still offer that attacking threat going forward. Now, two centre mids. The only downside with this is that there's no CDMs. If you really wanted to use CDMs, let's say you wanted to, like just for, you wanted stability, you could use a 4-2-2, or you could even veer towards a 4-4-2 with CDMs, the other way around. I don't know why I went all the way this way, but anyway, 4-4-2 with the CDMs. But the benefit of a 4-4-2 flat is centre mid to high. This is the most important thing. So let me put these back to inside forwards. Now, when you are attacking, the idea is you ideally want someone to go forward in the attack and someone to stay back. So what I normally do is I like to put one of these players to holding, and then the side you attack down the most, let's say you attack down the right-hand side the most, then you put that player on a playmaker. You can use a box-to-box. Box-to-box is a bit of a conservative option, but they kind of go back and forward. So someone that can do a bit of everything. Think of like a Hullet or a Valverde. I think at this stage of the year, if you are strong defensively, then you can use playmaker. And the other player, you can lead them on deep line, playmaker, defend. So they sit back. Now, don't forget, there's no CDM. So I want to say this again, is very, very important. You have to know how to win the ball back. And you might be asking, well, is it actually a negative to have CDMs? Well, technically speaking, it takes away from your attack. When you have CDMs, they sit further deep. And that means that when you want to press the ball, those CDMs are too far away to go and press, whereas center mids are in the right place. Of course, that means that from a kind of the transition perspective, or let's say, for example, you lose the ball. Yes, you don't have CDMs that are that safety net that sit further back. But as long as you're competent in defending, leaving one of them on a box-to-box and one of them on deep line playmaker defend, I think is the best combination. So don't sweat about it too much. I would say just use it first. If you really are struggling from that point, you can consider putting one of these players on a holding. Very similar to deep line playmaker defend, except for, as I always said to you, like kind of one player just sitting just a tiny bit further back. That way you got two players staying back and they're never going to leave their position. So you have two options there. For the defenders, and as I said, if you're really not sure, just put this player on box to box. Defenders defend. The left back and right back now, the argument is defend is better, but I think this is too defensive. I think in a formation like this, you kind of want to put them on balance. You want them to be wide enough where, like, if you want to, and you might have seen this in the pro analysis that I uploaded 2 days ago, is that you want to introduce your left back into the game with the L1 button. They were going to overlap, and then you could arguably create that 2v2 down the wing, and that's one of the key benefits of this formation. So me personally speaking, balance is good for left backs and right backs. They don't go forward too much. They basically, I would say, they will hover around this area, like I would say around this area, whereas defenders are a bit more conservative. They're like this. So with the fullback balance, they're still going to stay back. They're not really going to launch forward and join the attack like you would see an attacking wing back, but this way they'll be available to make a pass and be ready to be triggered. 4-4-2 build-up style, I would definitely recommend counter-attack. Now, for the defensive approach, 70 is what you could probably use and what I would probably use. However, I'm just going to release this with like something like 55, just for the simple fact is a lot of people I know, they struggle defensively. And as I said, this is not really a 4-4-2 to be overly aggressive. Let's say up against your opponent, let's say they got two CDMs and you need two strikers. That's where this formation will really come in clutch. So you want to do this like a balanced 4-4-2, not as an aggressive 4-4-2. It's a balanced 4-4-2 because if you need to win the ball back, you can press the ball manually, or you can simply apply the D-pad tactic team press. And once you activate team press, you can start pressing as a unit. But that's why I'd recommend putting this on balance. So this way you can play with this formation naturally. Think of this identical. So if you like to use a 4-4-1-1, let's say you're sitting in, you're like, you know what, I love to use a 4-4-1-1, but sometimes I find my singular striker too isolated. Then this way you got a chance of putting two strikers up front, and then you have one player kind of join the attack. If this player is a playmaker, even better, because then what they can do is they can be a bit further in the attack. Kind of like that temporary cam is what I like to call it. You could bring that player going forward, and you can have that kind of that cam player in the middle. But look, that is the tactics. The code is over there: Juliet 48 capital Foxtrot capital Sierra 7 capital Mike Quebec Tango Golf capital Delta, for anyone that's wondering. And don't forget, if you want to get better FC, come to our Patreon, so patreon.com/no guys. If you don't get better after 1 month, especially during season time, we will refund your money. That's a no guys guarantee. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.